Hi, I'm Father Charlie Bouchard, and I'm here to offer you a word of hope on the readings for October 1st, which is the feast of St. Theresa, the Little Flower of Jesus. If we look at the first reading today from the prophet Nehemiah, and then look at the gospel reading, we see two very different pictures of discipleship. Nehemiah was a prophet who asks for permission from the king to go back and restore the city of Jerusalem. And in so doing, he gets permission, but he takes on a very big, complicated task, building a city. He has to find building supplies, he has to marshal help, all of these things he needs to do as a sign of his devotion to God. The gospel gives us a very different picture of what it looks like to follow God. It is simply, Jesus advises his disciples to follow him just that simply. He says, follow me. And so there's no building material, there's no complications. It's all just about devoting oneself to the love of God. And I think that this gospel is probably much more appropriate today for the feast of Theresa, the Little Flower, as we often call her, because she followed what she herself referred to as the little way, the simple way, that she didn't need a lot of stuff to get her spiritual message across. She just focused on the very simple but meaningful things that we do in our lives to live out the gospel. One of her most famous quotes is, "Make no single opportunity, or rather miss no single opportunity of making some small sacrifice, here by a smiling look, there by a kindly word, always doing the smallest right and doing it all for love." And she says, it is true that love knows no such word as impossible, for love deems all things possible. And so we can see that in some way her devotion and her way of living out her faith was kind of like Nehemiah's, but a whole lot simpler. And I think, at least in my own life, with prayers and observances and liturgies, sometimes my faith life gets pretty complicated. And I think there are all these things that I got to do in order to please God. But it's a good time for us to remember today St. Teresa's little way, this way of simple sacrifice, simple love, and simple actions done merely and importantly for the love of God.